No one saw it coming. The person who gave the news wasn't a coach, wasn't the team owner. It was Caitlin Clark herself. When she stepped up to the microphone, everyone went quiet, because what she was about to say could change everything. Caitlin, the biggest name in women's basketball, the player who changed the game, was about to announce a new coach. And not just any coach. A legend from the past. Someone no one expected. Someone now tied to the Fever's future. But how did this even happen? What secret talks happened behind closed doors? This isn't just about one team. This could change the whole WNBA. Right now, Christy Sides is still the Fever's head coach. She was hired in January 2024. She helped guide the team through Caitlin's first season. And under her, the Fever went from one of the worst teams to a team that's fighting for the playoffs. But now, big questions are starting. Is a major change coming? Now that Caitlin Clark is with the Fever, everything has changed. The team is getting more attention than ever before. And now, they're thinking bigger. They're asking, what's next? What needs to change so this team keeps winning? Not just this year, but for many years? Coach Christy Sides had a really hard job. She had to welcome the most famous rookie in WNBA history, and also keep older players happy, who weren't sure what their new jobs were. It wasn't easy, but she did it. She helped Caitlin learn how to survive in the WNBA. Fast, tough, and full of pressure. And through all of it, Caitlin and Coach Sides stayed strong. They always said good things about each other. They worked together to help the Fever grow. But here's the hard truth. Coaching Caitlin Clark is not a normal job. It comes with huge pressure. Only a few coaches in WNBA history have faced this much spotlight, this much media, this many fans watching every move. And in pro sports, sometimes coaches don't stay just because of wins or losses. Sometimes the change comes from deep inside. Private talks, long meetings, big future plans. And sometimes, it comes from the players themselves. Now, one very big name is being talked about. Larry Bird. A basketball legend. Someone who has done it all. As a player, as a coach, and as a leader behind the scenes. Larry Bird's connection to Indiana is special. He played college ball at Indiana State. He helped run the Indiana Pacers for years. As a player, he was pure magic. 3 NBA titles. 3 MVPs. 12-time All-Star. And his battle with Magic Johnson? It changed basketball forever. Then he became a coach. From 1997 to 2000, he led the Indiana Pacers to the Eastern Conference Finals. Twice. His coaching record? 147 wins. Only 67 losses. One of the best ever. And now, people are whispering. Could Larry Bird come back to coach again? Could he be the one to lead Caitlin Clark into the future? Larry Bird didn't coach for a long time. But when he did, he won. A lot. His winning record is still one of the best in NBA history. But Larry didn't walk away after coaching. He stayed in the game. He became a big boss behind the scenes for the Indiana Pacers. He helped pick players. He helped choose coaches. He made big choices about how to build a team that wins. He's done it all. He played. He coached. He led from the front office. That's why people respect him so much. He's not just a legend. He's someone who knows basketball inside and out. But here's the twist. Larry Bird has never worked in women's basketball. He's never coached in the WNBA. He's never led a women's team. So why is his name suddenly everywhere? Because Larry Bird's connection to Indiana basketball runs deep. So deep that when Caitlin Clark showed up, people started to dream. What if Larry Bird coached the Fever? What if he helped Caitlin like he once helped Reggie Miller? This wouldn't just be a coach joining a team. It would be a legend, stepping into a brand new chapter. A chapter that could change the WNBA forever. Larry Bird is more than just a famous basketball name. He's part of Indiana's heart. He was born in a small town called French Lick, Indiana. That's where his love for basketball began. He played for Indiana State University. And in 1979, he led his team to the championship game against Magic Johnson. It became one of the most famous college games ever. Later, Larry joined the Indiana Pacers. He coached them. He helped run the team for over 20 years. Everyone in Indiana knows his name. He's not just a player or a coach. He's a symbol of Indiana basketball. Even when he could have left Indiana for bigger jobs, Larry stayed. He always gave back to his home state. That's why people wonder, could Larry Bird return again? But this time, to help Caitlin Clark? Now let's talk about Caitlin Clark. Because she's not just a great basketball player. She's changing everything. Since Caitlin joined the Indiana Fever, ticket sales have gone up more than 400%. Almost every game is sold out. Big companies are lining up to sponsor the team. Just because of her. People aren't just coming to watch basketball. They're coming to see Caitlin. Her social media is huge. Her jerseys sell like crazy. She's helping the Fever make more money than ever before. And because of all this, Caitlin now has more power and influence than most new players ever get. Caitlin Clark's name is now bigger than many older WNBA players. And even bigger than some NBA stars. She's not just a star on the court. She's a star off the court too. Her name and image are very powerful. Most new players don't get this much attention. But Caitlin does. She's become so important that people are starting to ask big questions. Can she help pick the coach? Can she help plan the team's future? In today's sports world, superstar players have more power than ever before. They help with big choices, like picking coaches and planning how the team plays. This is starting to happen in women's basketball too, especially now that the game is getting more fans and more money. And Caitlin? She might be the first WNBA player to have this much power, this early in her career. Before Caitlin came, the Indiana Fever was not a team that many people talked about. Now, they're the most popular team in the WNBA. Sponsors want to work with them. TV channels want to show their games. The team is making more money than ever. Because of Caitlin, the team now has money to hire better workers, take big chances, dream bigger than before. All of this gives the Fever new power to make changes. And Caitlin is right in the middle of it all. Caitlin Clark has changed everything for the Indiana Fever. Because of her, the team is now on TV more than ever. Their games now get over 1 million watchers. Sometimes even 2 million. That's huge for women's basketball. In fact, those numbers are close to what big NBA teams get. And because of all this attention, the Fever now have more money and more power to make big choices. Before Caitlin came, the team didn't have the money to do bold things. Now, things are different. They can pay for better coaches, improve their team and helpers, make smart plans for the future. All because Caitlin made them one of the most exciting teams in sports. Now, some people are asking, could the Fever hire a well-known coach from men's basketball? Could a former NBA coach lead a WNBA team like this? In the past, switching between men's and women's sports wasn't very common. But times are changing. More and more famous coaches are showing interest in women's sports because they see how serious, talented, and successful these leagues are becoming. The WNBA has always had coaches from many different paths. Some were players, some coached in college, and some coached in other countries. But hiring someone from the NBA, especially if they've never coached women's basketball, would be a big choice. Experts say it takes more than a famous name. It takes time spent working with women's sports, real respect for the players, and a good match with the team's beliefs. It's not just about winning. It's about building something strong and kind. If big names from men's basketball, like Larry Bird, joined the WNBA as coaches or helpers, everything could change. People who don't usually watch women's basketball might start paying attention. Why? Because they know names like Larry Bird. His basketball wins and fame could bring millions of new fans to the league. That means more people watching the games, more news and stories in the media, more money from companies that want to help teams, and even more respect for women's basketball everywhere. It's not just about fans. Famous coaches could help players in ways they've never had before. With their tips and ideas, top women athletes could become even smarter, quicker, and better on the court. The game itself would grow. But it's not always easy. Bringing in coaches from men's teams means everyone needs to adjust. They may have different working styles, different ways of talking, and different hopes for the team. So, it's important for everyone to work together with kindness, respect, and teamwork. Because this is about more than just basketball. It's about building something bigger and better for the future. Men's and women's basketball are not exactly the same, especially off the court. The WNBA works in a different way than the NBA. smaller amounts of money, different ways of traveling, lower pay for players, and a different kind of team feeling. That means any coach coming from men's teams has to learn new things, change and grow too. Coaching women's teams isn't just about plays and plans. It's also about how you speak to players, earn their trust, and build a strong team feeling. Women athletes often build teams through friendship and care, emotional support, and deep respect for one another. So, a coach needs to know how to inspire in a way that fits this team style. If someone like Larry Bird joined the WNBA, he couldn't just use the same ideas he used in the NBA. He would need to understand the daily lives of WNBA players, his deep knowledge of basketball, his smart planning, his strong game ideas, and his belief in great teamwork could still help a team reach new heights. Larry Bird has spent his whole life in basketball. He's played, coached, and led teams at the top level. Because of that, he knows how to manage games, help players get better, and build teams that win. If Larry Bird worked with Caitlin Clark, it could be something very amazing. Clark is one of the most skilled players ever, and Bird knows how to bring out the best in people. Together they could become a player-coach team that's strong, smart, and powerful. They might even help the Indiana Fever become one of the best teams in WNBA history. Bird also has ideas from men's basketball that could be changed to fit women's basketball. That means new game moves, better ways to train, and fresh plans to win games that other WNBA teams haven't tried yet. But people still have questions. Can those ideas really work in the WNBA? Will players be okay with a coach from men's teams? Can this new way bring real wins? Only time will tell. But one thing is clear. If it works, it could change the WNBA forever. If someone like Larry Bird became a coach in women's basketball, it would be a really big deal. He would need to change some of the ways he coaches, because women's basketball is different from men's basketball in some ways. But if he learns and adjusts, it could work well. If Larry Bird joined the WNBA, the news would be everywhere. On TV, on the radio, in newspapers, and all over social media. Some people would love the idea, and others might not agree. But it would get everyone talking about women's basketball more than ever before. That could help the whole WNBA grow, not just the Indiana Fever. More people would watch games, more businesses might want to help or give money to teams, and the league could earn more. Still, with all the attention, the team would feel a lot of pressure to do well. If smart coaches from men's basketball start working in the WNBA, they might help teams get better by teaching new skills and game plans. This could make the whole league stronger and more fun to watch. Some experts think this might also change how teams give contracts to players, or try to keep their best players from leaving. If one team hires a famous coach and gets much better, other teams might want to do the same to stay strong. But it could also make things unfair if only a few teams can pay for big coaches or fancy training tools. Still, the whole WNBA might become more popular if more fans and companies start paying attention. And maybe other women's sports will try the same idea to grow and get stronger too. People are starting to ask if the WNBA will need to change some of its rules and money plans to keep up with all the new fans and money coming in. If the Indiana Fever hires a very famous coach, it could help them become one of the best and most loved teams in women's sports. But to stay great for a long time, they'll need to do more than just hire big names. They have to keep helping their players grow, keep winning games, and build a team that feels strong and happy together. Now that they're more famous, the Fever could also start programs to teach young girls how to play basketball, help people in their city, and work with schools to support learning and sports. If they work with other teams, schools, and groups in the area, they could help even more girls play sports and feel confident. Experts say teams need to make smart plans, so they don't just do well for one season, but stay strong for many years to come. What the Fever chooses to do now might show other teams how to grow, how to stay strong, and how to plan for the future. As women's sports keep getting bigger and better, this could be a very big moment for all women's sports. It shows that women's teams can be strong, fun to watch, and make enough money to get famous coaches and big support, just like men's teams. What happens with Caitlin Clark's career and how the Indiana Fever helps her grow will matter a lot. It might help shape the future of women's basketball. It could also show other teams and players What's possible when you work hard and make smart choices? This moment could be super important for helping women's sports grow in a way that lasts a long time. People are still asking, will one team doing well help the whole league grow? And will the choices being made right now set new rules for how women's sports work in the future? If this surprised or excited you, click the like button. Tell us in the comments. Do you think famous coaches from men's basketball can do a good job coaching women's teams too? Is it more important for a coach to have skills or experience in women's basketball to win in the WNBA? We really want to know what you think. Helps a coach do well when they switch between different kinds of sports teams. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you can see all our updates about this big story that could change women's basketball forever. Thanks for watching.